Adiel Gorel has helped thousands secure their retirement riches. Even the great Warren Buffett wrote him needing to know more. The answers are all here for you. Welcome to the Remote Control Retirement Riches Show.
How do you know when refinancing rental properties is right? Well, refinancing is always it's always something that you can do, and you need to know when it makes sense. So let's take this period as an example. The pandemic over most of 2020 and most of 2021 in many markets has caused an incredible increase in values for single-family home. The biggest market that we were ever in, the Phoenix, Arizona metro area, where we bought over 3,000 properties over 21 years, the prices of the homes went up over the nearly 2 years of the pandemic by, wait for it, 50%. So now, let's say you have a home that in February 2020 was worth $300,000, and at that time it had a loan that was $150,000. Well, today the home is worth $450,000, and it has a loan that's even slightly less than $150 because you keep making principal payments. So let's say it has a loan that's $145. When you have a home that's worth $450 and it has an existing loan at $145, it could be the right time to refinance, but there are other questions to ask. What's the rate on the existing loan? Well, if you have a $145,000 existing loan with a great super low rate, you can still refinance, because when the home is worth $450, you can easily pull $300,000 out, pay off the old loan, and you'll still have about $150 left over. But if the interest rate on the old loan is higher, which could be quite likely, because from the example I gave, you may have bought the home in about 202 or 203 at a rate of about 7 or 7.75. So now you are refinancing to a much lower rate, maybe 3.5, and pulling out cash, and indeed your monthly payment won't even be that much higher when you move down from 7.75 to 3.5. So yeah, that would be an example of where it's good to refinance. I would say if you are just refinancing to improve your rate without pulling out any cash, I wouldn't bother unless I was improving my rate. This is just a rule of thumb. This is not the Bible. This is not cast in stone. I wouldn't refinance until I were improving my loan by at least 1.5%, preferably 2. Even if people tell you, oh, there's going to be no points, there's still closing costs. And closing costs can run a few $1,000s. So, of course, you can do the calculation. I'm a long-term hold investor, and it'll pay for itself in X months, and it's worthwhile. Yeah, you can do those calculations. But just as a rule of thumb, less than 1.5% improvement, not worth it. If you can pull out a significant amount of cash, yet at a lower rate, so your payments are not too high, you can take this cash, which is, by the way, in this scenario would be tax-free. You don't pay taxes on a loan, yes? So here is some tax-free cash, and if you are a real estate investor, you can use it as a down payment to buy 2 or 3 more homes. So now in one fell swoop, you increase the quantity of homes from 1 to 3 or 4, and you got a loan at a very good rate. I should mention that these days, the interest rates are essentially the lowest rates in the history of all time. So getting a fixed rate loan, a 30-year fixed rate loan at these rates is a very good idea. But still, if you have an amazing rate, let me give you an example. Let's say you have a home that's worth about $300,000, and you have a loan on this home that's $200,000, and you can't really pull out cash, and the existing loan is at 4%, and maybe you can now refinance to 3.6%. I would absolutely not bother. I wouldn't bother. But if if you have a loan that's 5.75%, and you can refinance to 3.6, then I would do it. So we will be talking about it at our next event. You're welcome to join us, and we will be discussing, once again, because a question that comes up a lot, how to know when refinancing rental properties is right. Thanks for joining me today. Click the subscribe button for more video on real estate. Got a question or comment? I love questions and comments. Leave yours below. And here's another video you've got to see.